I hate how these immigrants come to our country and take our jobs, he was saying to his friend, pointing to me and Hardeep and Unji as if we didn't understand. He steps up to my till, and I want to grab him by his greasy, undone collar. I want to slam him against the wall and pound his bigot face into the ground before telling him my father came to this country as a 17-year-old, all fresh-faced and scrawny and yellow and immature. He worked at a Chinese restaurant during the day, burning his arms on the walk and scarring his hands in flames before sprinting the 5 blocks to Concordia University where he attended classes he never had time to study for anyway. Nighttime at McDonald's where he scrubbed the floors for petty change before retiring to the back of a 1972 Firebird. All Pontiac power and American muscle and shiny motivation in order for him to make it in this new nation, he'd one day need to live in more than just a car with no windows. 4 years and so much pain later, my father graduated from university with his degree, instantly packing his bags and leaving the east for the greener grasses of BC. I love the oceans here, my father once told me. Because I feel like if I get on a boat and float, one day I'll float back to the place where I first became, to the place where my race survives and thrives, that place that I forced my memory to erase so that I can make a new life for myself here in Canada. And I love the mountains here, my father once told me, because they remind me to always keep climbing. My father's face is lined with pain. His wrinkled arms bear burns and scars that scream pain but spell out desire. His tired eyes belie a fire that still burns within, yearning to escape and meet revenge on the white boys in college who told him a chink would never make it. His hair is gray beyond his years, a result of fears that held him jailed and tears from classes failed. Yes, this is the image of a man who embodies the working immigrant, who came here with nothing to make himself something, all the while giving everything he has to a country that is barely given anything back. This is the image of a man who eked out a living while living in an old sports car, working hard at the jobs that offered little more than minimum wage and labor scars, taking the slow rumble of the passing train as motivation, reminding him that those who built this nation were Chinese just like him, the original victims of exploitation. And still today, the exploitations, regulating, berating, and hated Asians. So when the train finally slowed down and pulled into the station, my father found peace remembering those who came before him. My dad's one of those old school sort of immigrants, the sort of immigrant who still believes success is found on your knees, scrubbing floors and clipping weeds. The sort of immigrant who never scolded me for tagging school buses, but would beat the crap out of me for skipping third period chemistry. So see, maybe now I realize my father never came to my basketball games or my races or my shows. No. Instead, he chose to sit at home reading the paper, and when I walked through the door, he just said, "Hey, how'd it go?" And when I brought home my trophies and my medals, all he ever said was, "Well done, son." For me, that's the memory of a man who came from nothing into something, because the one day that I brought him a $50 bonus from McDonald's for being Employee of the Month, my dad ripped that check out of my hand faster than I could blink and said, "We're going to frame this." "What about those?" I said, pointing to my trophies. "Those make you an athlete," he said. "This makes you my son." This poem is for the Filipino housekeeper. It's for the Jamaican corner store owner and the Chinese truck driver. This poem was for the rundown immigrant who works a rundown job for rundown pay to make sure that his kid's life is worth more than just rundown. This poem is for my father. And this poem is for his scars. And this poem is for the man at McDonald's. I'm sorry I took your job. Thank you very much. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys are hip-hop fans? Hands up. Hip-hop fans. Now, how many of you knew that Shakespeare was a rapper? 3 people. In reality, hip-hop is nothing but poetry. Poetry is hip-hop. If you are a living person with experiences and you share your experience with other people, that makes you a poet. That makes you a rapper. There's an old African saying, and it says, if you can speak, you are a poet. If you can walk, you are a dancer. You are all poets, and you all have a message to share. And, you know, I used to be the one sitting in the crowd watching people on stage being like, man, that's so cool. I wish I could be on stage. You know, you can. You have that opportunity to use your voice. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has their own story, and I encourage you guys to share it. And what we always say in the Capital Slam scene is, we poets do what we do to show you that you can do it too. Thank you.